We have so much breaking news to get to, so let's get to it. Coming up here on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now, my name is Chase Sr. Joe Brady, the Bills offensive coordinator, has been promoted to head coach. We'll talk about that because that impacts this Eagles offensive coordinator search. What happens with Brian Daboll? He was the favorite to get that Bills head coaching job because he was a great offensive coordinator for the Bills and for Josh Allen. We have an answer to that, and one candidate who has come out of nowhere has a second interview lined up with Philadelphia. Before we get to all of that, look, real ones out there, this is why you subscribe to the channel. When there is breaking news that happens pertaining to the Eagles, we break it down and we dissect it. That's a big reason why we're 55 subscribers away from 144,000. So hit that sub button so that you can stay in the know with all things Eagles and join the movement right now. Joe Brady's Bills. It is official. The Bills offensive coordinator since 2023. That was the year he stepped in for Ken Dorsey to take over on an interim basis, and then he became the full-time OC in 2024 and 2025, is being hired as Buffalo's next head coach to replace Shawn McDermott. My immediate reaction here, I think this is a no-brainer. Brady has done a really good job as offensive coordinator. That offense under him has become better, more balanced, and just a more consistent offensive unit. Josh Allen became a unanimous MVP last year with Joe Brady as the OC. That running game has gotten going with James Cook. And so you elevate Joe Brady from OC to head coach, and it also gives Josh Allen a level of familiarity here. And Allen, this is well known, well documented. Terry Bagula and Brandon Beane had talked about this. He was a part of the head coaching interviews here. Why not lean on the face of your franchise, the pillar of your organization? He had say in what the Bills were going to do in replacing Shawn McDermott, and clearly content, happy, and he wanted Joe Brady to be his next head coach to hopefully get Buffalo, for their sake, over the hump, in which that's something that they haven't been able to do since Josh Allen was drafted in the first round out of Wyoming by the Bills several years ago. What will be big for Joe Brady, in my opinion? He's got the offense handled, and I imagine he's going to call plays. Pretty important for him to do that, in my opinion, because that is his strength. That's how he's gotten to this point. He's helped to develop the likes of Joe Burrow at LSU, Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills. He needs to lock down a really good defensive coordinator. I think the offense is going to be really good, but how does the defense look? Because Shawn McDermott, a CEO head coach, he's a defensive mind. And over the last few years, that defense, it's been a lackluster unit. It is going to be a 5-year deal for Joe Brady. Pretty typical for head coaches these days to land a deal that is about 5 years. And the Bills, under his watch, produce an MVP in Josh Allen in 2024. In 2025, James Cook was the NFL rushing champ. So you have your passer and dual threat quarterback in Josh Allen, who's a ridiculous talent. James Cook has emerged over the last couple of years as one of the best running backs in football. And a big reason for that, the running scheme, the play calling, and the offense of Joe Brady. In 2025, Buffalo, 4th in scoring and total yards, 2nd in rushing yards per carry, 3rd in yards per pass. Unfortunately for the Eagles, Joe Brady will not be becoming Philadelphia's offensive coordinator. He was my favorite candidate for the Eagles OC job with everything that has happened of late. So with Joe Brady going to Buffalo, staying there, what does it mean for Brian Daboll? Could Brian Daboll be the Eagles offensive coordinator? Because Daboll was looked at as the favorite to get the Bills head coaching job. I thought that Daboll was going to get that gig. Well, here's a report from Diana Russini. The Tennessee Titans are set to hire Brian Daboll to be their next offensive coordinator under Robert Saleh. She kind of backpedaled a little bit with this because she followed that tweet with this one here, that Brian Daboll is a finalist for the Raiders head coaching job after completing a second interview with the team, while also remaining in consideration for OC roles with the Titans and the Eagles. Tennessee expects Daboll to choose joining Robert Saleh's staff. And then Jeremy Fowler had a report that pretty much this takes Philadelphia out of the mix. So for Daboll, looks like he's going to go to Tennessee. I don't think he gets that Raiders head coaching job, but obviously this head coaching carousel and cycle has been pretty wild. Daboll has had some interest after getting fired by the New York Giants. He interviewed to be the Eagles offensive coordinator 2 weeks ago. He's interviewed to be the Raiders head coach, and the Titans and Robert Saleh have been pursuing him to be their OC since Saleh landed the Tennessee head coaching job. Daboll, this is a candidate who I really like. To start this search, he was my number one target. Why? Experienced play caller, oversaw top 10 offenses in Buffalo while developing Josh Allen into the player who he is today. He's coached under Bill Belichick and Nick Saban. He was Jalen Hurts' offensive coordinator at Alabama, even though that was the year that Hurts got benched in the national championship. He's also coached Devontae Smith at Alabama, Saquon Barkley with the New York Giants. He has worked alongside Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni has said after their time together in Kansas City in 2012 that Daboll was looked at as a mentor for Sirianni. So they're very tight. NFL Coach of the Year in 2022. That was the year where the Giants had Daniel Jones playing well. Saquon Barkley stayed healthy. He was really good. They went on the road and won a road playoff game against Minnesota. Then they got dusted by the number one seeded Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round. After that 2022 season, the Giants weren't good, but I do like Daboll as an offensive mind. So one of my favorite candidates on top of Joe Brady is not going to be going to the Eagles here. I don't look at this as the Eagles whiffing on these candidates. I don't look at it as if these candidates are turning down the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are fine with a long, exhaustive search while casting a wide net. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a moment. Coming up next, that plus one Eagles offensive coordinator candidate has his second interview set up with the Eagles. Are the stars aligning for that candidate? We're going to talk about that here in just a moment. But today's Philadelphia Eagles Now is made possible thanks to our friends at PrizePicks. The big game, it's almost here. There's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than with PrizePicks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next year. So close the season out right with PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Find your community on PrizePicks with the new social feeds feature. You can share PrizePicks with your friends and copy lineups from winners with a single click. Copy lineups you like or use them as inspiration for your own picks. You can even follow PrizePicks partners like us and tail or fade our picks with just one click. Join the millions of users and sign up for America's #1 sports picks app. 4-pick power play for the big game. Drake May, more than a half passing touchdown. Jackson Smith and Jigba, more than 93.5 receiving yards. Sam Darnold, more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, more than 44.5 yards through the air. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use the code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, Matt Zenitz with this report right here for the back half of the show. A surprising candidate has emerged in the Eagles' search for an offensive coordinator. Nobody saw this name coming. The Eagles are set to have a second interview with Packers quarterbacks coach Shawn Mannion for their OC job to take over for Kevin Patullo. Mannion is an interesting candidate here. Only 33 years old, a third-round pick in the 2015 NFL Draft by the Rams out of Oregon State, 89th overall. He most recently played for the Seattle Seahawks just 2 years ago in 2023. In 2024, hired by Matt LaFleur to become the Packers offensive assistant. And in 2025, this past year, he was the quarterbacks coach under Matt LaFleur. The pluses of Shawn Mannion becoming the Eagles offensive coordinator. He's worked under Matt LaFleur. So Philadelphia would be bringing in a Kyle Shanahan type of system here. He is a respected young football mind in coaching circles. And for him to have a second interview with the Eagles, given his lack of coaching experience, he must have really impressed Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, and Nick Sirianni. The downside of hiring Mannion as OC, it's obvious, right? He last played in 2023 with the Seahawks, so he has very limited coaching experience. He has no play calling experience, and this is a veteran-laden Eagles offense that is living in the Super Bowl window. So this hire would be a risk, but a reminder of what Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman do. When the Eagles hired Andy Reid in 1999, he was not at the top of anybody's head coaching list. When they hired Chip Kelly in 2013, that was a huge risk. Nobody thought he was leaving Oregon at that moment. When the Eagles hired Doug Peterson in 2016, that came out of nowhere. Won a Super Bowl in year 2. Andy Reid obviously had all that success. When the Eagles hired Nick Sirianni, it was shocking that they went that route. The Eagles, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, love to look at, interview, and hire some of these up-and-coming offensive minds, and maybe Shawn Mannion is that guy. Don't forget to give me a follow on X, Instagram, TikTok, at Chase_Senior. You can find me on Facebook, Chase Senior Chat Sports. I'm giving you so much Eagles content here. I'm doing it over there as well.